our Assistant Chief of Operations, Chief David Lazar, and our Deputy Chief of Investigations, Raj Vaswani, with me as well. So I want to start off by saying thank you again for being here, and I want to give you an update, as we said we would. It's given as much as we can talk about at this moment. And let me start off by saying this is still a coordinated and collaborative effort between the San Francisco Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI, the U.S. Attorney's Office, the U.S. Capitol Police, and our San Francisco District Attorney's Office led by DA Brooke Jenkins. At this time, the San Francisco Police Department is still the lead investigating agency. Each agency is evaluating the facts that flow from this investigation and evaluating those facts within their respective authorities to take the appropriate action. First, I'd like to provide a little more detail of what transpired this morning when the officers arrived at the scene. We've gotten a lot of questions. We want to clarify some things. There are just a lot of theories and speculation out there, so I will provide the detail I can, but please understand that this is an ongoing and active investigation, and there's a lot that we still need to dig into. So when the officers arrived and knocked on the front door of the residence this morning, the door was opened by someone inside, and the officers observed through the open door Mr. Pelosi and the suspect, Mr. DePapi, inside the entryway of the home. At this time, the officers remained outside of the threshold of the home, and they observed Mr. Pelosi and Mr. DePapi each with one hand on a single hammer. There was one hammer that the officer observed. Officers, while still outside of the doorway threshold, gave commands to both men to drop the hammer. Mr. DePapi immediately pulled the hammer away from Mr. Pelosi and violently attacked him with the hammer. The officers immediately entered, tackled the suspect, disarmed him, took the hammer away from him, and took the suspect, Mr. DePapi, into custody. They requested emergency backup, and they rendered medical aid. I can confirm that Mr. DePapi forced entry into a rear door at the rear of the Pelosi home. And I'd like to reemphasize the quick response and actions of our officers, Officer Kobe Wilmus, Officer Kyle Cagney, and Sergeant Edmund Huang. Also, I want to reemphasize and thank our dispatcher, Heather Grimes, for her intuition, her quick thinking. She had to interpret what she was being told, and based on her experience and her intuition, she basically figured out that there was something more to this incident than what she was being told. Her actions, in my opinion, resulted in both a higher priority dispatch and a faster police response. I think this was life-saving. Lastly, I want to thank our firefighters and paramedics from the San Francisco Fire Department, also for a quick response in transporting Mr. Pelosi for medical assistance at the hospital. We've gotten a lot of questions about security. First of all, I want to say that the U.S. Capitol Police is responsible for protection of Speaker Pelosi and her family. The San Francisco Police Department will assist in any way we can. I've been in contact with Chief Tom Menger of the U.S. Capitol Police. We've been in contact with his investigators and at least one of his chiefs, and we are working collaboratively. Any questions about the security of the Pelosi home should be referred to the U.S. Capitol Police. That is their responsibility, and I would ask that you refer any questions about security to them. I won't be able to answer any of those questions. We also have received questions about how many times Mr. Pelosi was struck, and there's a lot of speculation out there. What we know is he was struck at least one time. We're going through our evidence, and when we have a definitive answer, we can release that, but right now we don't. So we know he was struck at least one time, and that's what we know. We also know, based on our investigation at this point, that this was not a random act. This was intentional. and it's wrong. Our elected officials are here to do the business of their cities, their counties, their states, and this nation. Their families don't sign up for this to be harmed, and it is wrong. And everybody should be disgusted about what happened this morning. With that, we will take any questions, and we will only answer what we can answer.
Question for you. We're seeing some sort of law enforcement activity at the suspect's home in Berkeley. Can you clarify what may be going on there in terms of any search warrants? Are search warrants going to be put out for his phone? Please update that situation.
Well, this investigation, there's a lot of moving parts. We are writing search warrants, and as we learn more, we may have to write more search warrants. That's about all I can say. I don't have any results, and our investigators have been on this since the wee hours of the morning, and they're still on it. So we're going to do everything we can to uncover every piece of evidence that we can to hold this person accountable.
So they have been into the home?
I'm not sure that they've been into the home at this point, but I do know that we have written search warrants, and that work is ongoing.
Right here.
Is the suspect on a 5150 hold, or are they in jail?
Well, I can't. The suspect is still in the hospital. Definitely, I cannot release, and it's not appropriate for me to release any of the suspect's medical information, but the suspect is still in the hospital. But let me say this. We intend to book the suspect, whether it's in absentia or whether it's in person. He will be booked for felony charges.
Mm-hmm. And you can't confirm whether or not he's on a 5150?
I cannot confirm anything about this person's medical condition.
Last question right up here.
Yeah, you say this wasn't a random act. What can you say about, do you think this was politically motivated?
We are not at the point where we can say what the motive is publicly, but we do know this was intentional. It is not random. We know that. We know that.
Right.
So.
But the dispatcher, can you say anything about how they needed to interpret the call, why he couldn't speak plainly?
Well, what I can say is that dispatchers have to report what's being told to them. And when you have an experienced dispatcher with good instincts, they learn how to read between the lines, but they have to report what's being told. They can't report anything other than what's being told. She knew something more was going on just in her heart and her intuition, just with her experience. And that caused for a higher priority than this type of call normally receives. I mean, this was a well-being check, and she just knew there was more to it. So she alerted our officers. She went that extra step, and because of that, they dispatched it at a higher priority than this type of call normally is, and that led to a quicker response.
Okay, that's it for right now. Thank you. We're all done. Thank you very much.
Steve, how did you manage to call 911?
He was able to call 911. So he was the caller. He was able to call 911, and dispatch kind of took it from there and read between the lines. So just heroic going all the way around.
But was he speaking in a code sort of so that the assailant would know he was on the phone? Is that essentially?
What he said, she felt that there was something more to it. But again, dispatchers have to report what they're being told. But thankfully, experience and intuition, sometimes when you're in this business long enough, you kind of get a sense for things, and her intuition was on point. So,
Okay,
I'm going to stop there.
We're done for this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Yeah, that's what just go if it changes. Okay.
Is it okay if I plug your XLRs?
The changes like that's been one of the big questions for the day, and I'm like it's a small question. It's a very important question.